Have you ever heard of the forgotten unreleased features from Minecraft? Features that were added in snapshots or early versions that didn't end up in the final game. Maybe because they were too unbalanced, not being finished, or even looking like a swastika. There are a lot of cool concepts that were added just to be removed, so let's check them out. Added in 1.18.30 on Bedrock Edition, the copper horn was originally part of the second Caves and Cliffs update. It was almost identical to the goat horn. The drop and the type mechanics was the same, but it had more sounds that could be played from one type of horn. If looking up, the harmony tune was played. Else, the melody tune was played. If crouching, the bass tune was played. It was quite different from the goat horn that only plays one sound per type and sounds more like a tune than an actual piece of music. Later on, the copper horn was abandoned as an experimental feature and delayed to 1.19 due to developers not having enough time to finish it, and eventually removed in the beta 1.19.0.5. According to Cogs, copper horns were intended more for social purposes than gameplay purposes. In my opinion, it shouldn't have been removed. It would give at least another use for copper, but I don't care much since it was as useless as the goat horn. Its first appearance was in the Bedrock Preview 1.16.30.56 when the new caves were added. It was never confirmed as an official feature, not even appearing in the version changelog, but the community at the time considered it as one. The only tweet I could find mentioning them was Kingdog saying that they never even had the idea of adding ice caves. Later on, the ice caves were removed as a bug, even though the community loved them. In my opinion, it was one of the best biomes in the update. First teased in a video by Notch, they seem to be the blueprint for redstone dust. Right after they were added in the in-dev version 20,100,128, they had no function other than being placeable, and later they were removed. They were a cool concept for an industrial version of Minecraft. Maybe they could be added nowadays as an alternative for vertical redstone or even as a new cool mechanic, and that would give copper a new use. Its ID was 55. Guess what replaced it? Yes, redstone. The end ship is one of the features that changed the most between snapshots. When it was first added, it had a beacon inside that gave the players speed too. It was the only time in the game that a beacon could be found naturally, which was kinda overpowered since it let players skip the whole wither boss fight. In the next snapshot, the beacon was replaced with a pumpkin. Because the iron blocks used to power the beacon were still there, some players thought it was a hint on how to spawn an iron golem. Later on, the pumpkin was replaced by a hopper containing a book written by Serge, titled Work in Progress. The book read, "We will have something else here soon." Finally, they added the elytra and removed the iron blocks. I find it weird that they couldn't just add the elytra straight away instead of using so many placeholders, but I also think it's kind of fun how they built up hype for it. It was added as a secret feature in the game because, at the time, cauldrons were unobtainable and only accessible through mods. When a cauldron was placed, potions could be brewed by adding water to the cauldron and then certain ingredients like spider eyes, magma cream, and many others. Some items added to the cauldron would create potions with positive effects like speed or instant health, while others would create potions with negative effects like slowness or blindness. There were multi-effect potions, meaning a single potion could have multiple effects. Its downfall happened because it was too complicated and lacked a GUI. Also, there were too many ways to make the same potion. It was planned that potion recipes would be procedural, meaning the recipes would change every time a new world was generated. The cauldron system was way more interesting than just putting ingredients in and waiting for the potion to brew, but the rest of the system felt overly complicated. Before it was added, saddles were already in the game, but they couldn't be used for horses. At first, the developers introduced horse saddles as a special, exclusive saddle for horses, and it was the only time a saddle was craftable. A few snapshots later, they removed it and gave the functionality of riding horses to the regular saddle. I think saddles should be craftable because barely anyone uses horses anymore, thanks to elytras being so much faster. This change would make horses more useful in the early games since players wouldn't have to rely on luck to ride them. The old customized world type allowed players to extensively modify terrain generation, adjusting parameters like sea level, biome distribution, and cave frequency. Introduced in version 1.8, this feature enabled personalized and unique worlds. However, it was removed in version 1.13 due to technical challenges and the complexities it introduced to world generation. The developers cited difficulties in maintaining and updating the feature alongside new world generation changes as reasons for its removal. It's one of the coolest features in this video. It would make so much easy to make a specific types of worlds without using external tools or mods. By the way, I really need this feature for an upcoming video that I'm making, but I will have to use mods. When Glazed Terracota was added, players started playing around with patterns and found out that some of them could form extremist symbols. Some players reported it on the Bug Tracker website and Reddit, and Jens replied to a comment saying that they tried their best to get rid of those symbols. Later on, they removed most of these patterns and made it impossible to form them, but some can still be made, and the reports got marked as won't fix. That's it. There are some features that I left for a possible part 2. In case you have any suggestion, feel free to share them in the comments. Consider subscribing and liking the video. Thanks for watching.